What is up? What is up, everybody? We're off to a good start. I hit the wrong button. I'm sorry to all my regulars. They're going to be really pissed off at me tomorrow when they realize I went live last minute and they missed me. So, I am sorry in advance. I was good. I was just going to wait till in the morning. I hadn't been live since Friday. Been suffering from withdrawals, but having a lot of stuff going on. So I was going to wait till in the morning, and last minute I remembered that I have an appointment in the morning that I can't miss. So that was going to knock that out, and then it was going to be Wednesday morning. And so I thought, you know what? I'm not going to keep putting it off like that. I'm going to jump on for a little bit. At least I'll have a video. Thank you for the ones that are in there right now. Y'all are amazing. Hey, Raining, good to see you. Miss Susan, of course, as always. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope y'all get plenty of company there in the chat. But oh, look, there we go already. Hey, Kelly, what's up? What's up? Sorry, it's last minute. I literally put the thumbnail up about 15 minutes ago. So I am going to be super thankful for as many people shows up. And thank you, thank you, thank you. Anyway, and everybody else that misses it tonight, it'll still be good tomorrow. And I'm sorry, I'll try to do better next time. So anyway, it was definitely a last minute thing, or, well, I would have done the normal. I would have put up a thumbnail, would have possibly put out a post and let everybody know. Anyway, everybody seemed to enjoy the Leah Files that we were going through the other day. I guess, was it Thursday morning? Pretty good stuff. Miss Lee has done some really good work. She is a former intelligence. She was in intelligence, and now she has a private intelligence firm. And she's been digging into Turning Point and, all the people that are Turning Point adjacent. And, we were watching her deep dive of Andrew Colvett and Turning Point in general. So we're going to go back to it. And I'm glad you spotted it, Raining. I'm glad you noticed it. Because I was sitting there with my fingers crossed when I hit the go button. Yes. So you know what? If there's no more than just y'all in there, I'll be happy. Y'all made my night. Somebody showed up for me. I don't usually have any trouble getting some people in the chat, but most of the time, though, it takes a little notice. So YouTube done me right. They let you know I was there and going live. All right. Without further ado, here we go. I'm going to hit the go button, and of course, the routine. We'll talk about it here and there. I backed it up just a little bit just to make sure that we didn't miss anything. We're going to overlap a little bit. We're going to do it'd be a few minutes of what we heard when we stopped last, but we're about to go into Stacey Sheridan. So it's been mainly focused on Andrew Colvett, and now it's about to transition to Miss Stacey Sheridan. The one that Erica's been crying on her shoulder, the one that recorded Erica trying to crawl up in the casket, and the on the hands and the whole works. Yeah, that's Stacey. Very foreign entity linked. Yes. They're the ones that's doing all the geofencing. I do believe they were related to the whole, if y'all remember Andrew, right after the, after Charlie's memorial, he was bragging that they had picked up like 270 or 280,000 cell phones. Pretty sure it was them. And it was through the geofencing, and that's what they're doing. And according to the FARA documents, said they're doing it on behalf of a foreign nation. So lots of interesting ties there. Thank you, Miss Susan. Good God. Oh. Yeehaw. All right, let me back that up just a bit.
Is that Andrew Colvett is nowhere on any of the 90s. So what if Resolute Media is his income and the advertising dollars that were coming in from Salem Media, who was working with Clock Tower Act
All right, now that we got video, right? Correct. I think. I hope.
and all of the pro-Israel causes, all of their advertising dollars were what were about to go away. And then Andrew Colvett stood to lose a lot. So did Tyler Boyer. That
Susan, I'm going to take that as a compliment, whether it was intended to be that way or not.
connection's always interesting to me, but obviously not confirmed or denied. If you look at what's missing and you look at the connections, you start to put together that puzzle. This is when a board member, I would advise, be asking for the operating agreement. They would be asking for the licensing contract, the related party transaction policy, because if Resolute Media is using TPUSA's name and likeness commercially, which they are, still name the Charlie Kirk Show. Mind blowing. But anyway, there's
not only is it named the Charlie Kirk Show, it's got like just in the view, within view of the camera, you've got, let's see, I'd say at least 3 pictures of Charlie Kirk, which there's nothing wrong with having, a picture of Charlie Kirk visible. It was his old show, in memory of whatever. But besides that, they have Charlie Kirk's name listed like 3 to 4 times, on the Chiron and everything. Like it's all it's pasted and posted all over the place. So a little bit extreme, a little bit freaky. They need to change the name of it. That's my opinion.
Specific things that have to be on the books to make this transaction good to go. Pass the financial sniff test. And is it? It's not. No.
I don't think there's been anything so far that's been dug into that passed the financial sniff test. Allegedly. My opinion, not a statement of fact.
I do think that it's really interesting that they threatened to sue so many people because I don't think they could stand discovery. They couldn't stand discovery. And it's not because they're going to find out who killed Charlie Kirk. They're going to find out everything else that was happening.
It's not all about that. That discovery could lead a lot of places. Obviously, who killed Charlie would be the, icing on the cake. That'd be the big find. But regardless of whether it even ended there, there's a lot of stuff between here and there that they don't want found.
Happening and is happening in these books behind closed doors. Their donors, the networks that are created, how they're passing money through. I don't think they want that to come out, but maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. They're welcome to tell me I'm wrong. But yeah, that's what it's showing. Okay, so let's look what compliance would look like. If you were going to do this correctly, what would it look like? If I was going to look at their 990s and be like, these are chill. These are chill. The relationship between Resolute Media and TPUSA is chill. What would it look like? What a forensic accountant would expect to find if a for-profit company owned by insiders of a nonprofit are using the likeness of the nonprofit and the founder's name, especially after his assassination. First, you want to see a written license agreement. So TPUSA owns trademarks, Turning Point USA, TPUSA, possibly the Charlie Kirk Show name itself. So if Resolute Media uses any of those for commercial purposes, which I think they do, there should be a written license agreement at fair market value. Keywords, fair market value, with documented board approval, which would mean that they would be selling their likeness and the nonprofit would be gaining from that. But that's not what I see on the books anyway. And there would be documented board approval. So that would be the first thing that.
And I don't know who all's heard about it. And of course, I haven't been able to 100% verify this, and I haven't seen anybody else verify it 100% either yet. But I am hearing from quite a few sources that right now there is a legal dispute. I do know it has been verified that Erica has filed for, all of the trademark, whatever, concerning Charlie's name and his signature and all that. She's trying to gain control of all that. Don't know exactly how all that works or what all's involved. I'm not important enough to know those kinds of things. But, and according to what I'm hearing, there is kind of a dispute there between his parents and her. I don't know if that's true or not, but according to I've heard it a couple different places that his parents are trying to step in and kind of maybe block that. I don't know. The only thing I could think of is that maybe they want to make sure that one day the kids have rights to that, maybe. I don't know. I can't see them I can't see them blocking it for their own personal benefit, but either way, just throwing that out there.
A forensic accountant would look for. Second, royalty income on TPUSA's 990. If Resolute pays TPUSA a license fee for the brand, that money has to land somewhere in.
You're not far behind, Scruff, but yeah, I'm getting a late start. This one was last minute.
The nonprofits 990.
Probably so, Miss Susan. Probably so. I can't say that I disagree with you.
It has to land on their revenue side. If the for-profit pays, it would be somewhere, and it's not. TPUSA's 2023 990 reports $126,000 in royalty income for an $85 million nonprofit that runs a national daily talk.
That is pocket change. Like, that is a ridiculously small amount of money for a name like Charlie Kirk. You imagine the revenue that gets brought in over that?
Radio show distributed across 195 stations with 500 to 700,000 downloads a day. Yeah, that doesn't sound right. Yeah, I'm going to call BS on that. Sorry. All right, third. After Charlie Kirk's death, post-mortem name and likeness rights passed to his estate. And right now, interestingly enough, Erica Kirk is allegedly fighting with Charlie Kirk's parents about this name and likeness. And it makes sense because Resolute Media is the for-profit company that profits off of the name and likeness, in my opinion. Someone inherited those rights. We don't know who. I would think Erica Kirk, but we haven't seen who inherits those rights. But somebody in Charlie Kirk's will inherits those rights. If Resolute Media keeps using.
And it doesn't appear that she inherited them because, like I said, I have seen the filings for that. So I don't know. I don't want to talk like I know anything about that because I really don't.
The Charlie Kirk Show name, which they have since he's been assassinated, we're in month 8. There should be a post-mortem licensing agreement between Resolute Media and Charlie's estate. And I don't know if that exists. Maybe it does. Maybe it does. That agreement would not appear in the 990s because it's not part of the TPUSA contract. But the estate would owe taxes on the royalty income, and Resolute Media would owe licensing fees from its profits. So I don't think anyone wants to give up money. My assessment of them so far, this is just my little opinion, Leah's little opinion, is that they're greedy. They're all just very greedy.
And some greedy assholes.
Very greedy, and that's what we're seeing. All right, so the fourth thing that you want to look for is the Schedule L, Part 4, in the 990. So the 990 schedule that exists specifically to disclose business transactions between the nonprofit and any insider company entity that's 35% or more controlled by insiders. Charlie owned a third, Boyer owned a third, and Colvette owned a third. So they're all, I would say that meets, and I didn't see it. I didn't see it on any Schedule L. I didn't see it anywhere. All right, fifth, going to want to look at the Schedule R, that schedule list.
Imagine that. Not all the required paperwork. Where have we heard that before?
Related organizations.
Seems like a reoccurring theme.
Resolute Media is operationally entangled enough with TPUSA to merit disclosure as a related taxable corporation. This is where it would appear. All right, 6, you look at the Schedule O if you're a forensic accountant, the narrative schedule where you explain unusual third-party relations. That's not anywhere in there. You look at the documented rebuttal presumption procedure, Treasury regulation, approval by an independent body, comparable compensation or rate data. If TPUSA licensed its brand to a company owned by its founder, COO, and spokesman, the IRS expects all 3 of the following on file. They want a documented rebuttal presumption procedure. They want approval by an independent body, and they want comparable compensation or rate data. Maybe they have it. Maybe they have it. I didn't see it. All right, now let's look at what we actually found because we just listed off all the things that a forensic accountant would look for. Nothing. We don't see any of them. I don't see Resolute Media anywhere. I don't see ATK Media anywhere. It's like a forensic accountant's headache. So none of the 7 things that I just told you about, which I know are very nerdy, but very important. The moral of that story is that none of them were found in any of the 90s. Not one. Not one compliance document. And then you wonder why Charlie Kirk asked for an audit.
No, Leah, you got to be careful with that. He did not ask for an audit. He asked for a Doge-style effort. Get it right, or you'll be getting papers too.
One of the interesting things that I found when I was re-looking at these corporate filings, especially Resolute Media, was that it was Charlie Kirk, Andrew Colvette, and Tyler Boyer. 8 days after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, Erica Kirk was announced as the CEO, which we'll get into.
And then, as Lana would say, she was like, hey, guys.
At another point. And she was...
We got 55,000 hat orders. Yeah, we got 100,000 new donors. We got 200,000 new chapter requests.
Also named chairman of the board. And again, it's not illegal, but red flag governance right there, especially because she doesn't have the experience. So you're going to put someone as chairman of the board to regulate her.
It's pretty good, Scruff. It's pretty much a compilation of all the little short clips that she's done, except she goes into more detail with it. I went through the biggest part of it the other morning, and yeah, we're finishing it up. We're fixing to go into Stacey Sheridan.
yourself as CEO. That's what that is. Never made sense to me, but anyway, I want to show you guys this because this account, it popped up recently on X. You can see right up here the name. If you are on X, he's mapping
Hey guys. And here's my lint roller.
relationships going back with Andrew Colvett to the Adelsons through a nonprofit. And I definitely think you should go look at the documents. I'm not putting them in this podcast in particular because I think that they are maybe 2-3 degrees from separation. If you're interested in going down that rabbit hole further, I wanted to highlight him. Andrew Colvett is from Nevada. He's from a Catholic family. There are a lot of connections being made right now with his family and his stepfamily. You have to be very careful when looking at all of this information. There's a lot coming out, and I think that it's important to sort through the noise. But the thing that's important that I found,
And there's a shitload of noise
about his family, is that 2 of his family members are lieutenant colonels with Fort Huachuca. Fort Huachuca is...
Imagine that. Was it not Andrew Colvett that said, yeah, here's the proof that she wasn't hanging out at some fort in Tucson? Couldn't think of the name, I guess. Some fort in Tucson. Yet he's got a brother and I don't know, first cousin or somebody, both that are like stationed there. Not to mention Erica Kirk's mother basically lives there, and she was going to film a movie there, and we could go way down the list. But some fort in Tucson. Oh yeah, and of course Brian Harpo, the head of security at Integrity, whatever it is, Integrity Solutions, whatever his company. Anyway, yeah, he's got a office like just right outside the gate, like 10 minutes away, something like that. So yeah, some fort in Tucson.
Is an Army intelligence base. It runs NetCom, a lot of surveillance reconnaissance out of there. And he has 2 family members at the lieutenant colonel level, which is high up. So he does have connections to Fort Huachuca. So does Lori Franzfey. And it is also where this alleged reported meeting that happened a day or 2 prior that obviously has not been confirmed. Not only has it not been confirmed, it's being fought. But this...
Just keep an eye on that. Trust me. I'm not going to say how, but I can tell you right now, I know it will be confirmed. Just watch.
Meeting that happened that Candace Owens has talked about was at Fort Huachuca as well. So there's just a lot of connections around that. So I did think that was important. What I want to do now is run you guys through what we'll call the Leah Files risk index. So I have a model that I use for my corporate intelligence firm, and I ran Andrew Colvett and Mikey McCoy through it just for the sake of this podcast. And I want to show you how they kind of panned out. All right. So we're going to start with Andrew Colvett, 87 out of 100. He's Black, critical. Risk score, one of the highest in the organization, if not the highest. I need to run everyone else through it with a little more information, but based on everything that we have, he's at 87. Just to show you the difference, Mikey McCoy, we're looking at 62. So he's red, but he is not to the level of Andrew Colvett, which I'll get to what I think that means.
Andrew's super bad.
At least what that tells me in a bit. So let's run through Andrew Colvett's score, how we got here. We have our risk bands for the money. I mean, to be honest, we have the worst money architecture profile that I've seen. He has maximum exposure across for-profits, non-profits. His own people have said they are on the payroll, the whole shadow payroll, and yet there's nothing disclosed.
Quit exposing yourself, Andrew. Good God, you're so exposed.
ProPublica reported him at $255K, and it's nowhere to be found. He co-owns Resolute Media. It's nowhere. I mean, his employee said that he was paying her while working at TPUSA. And then his home, that's worth $1.149 million that he purchased at the age of 29. So like a decade ago. Interesting to me, considering that he's on the payroll for anybody. So for money, he gets a 24 out of 25. Pretty high coming from a follow the money person, just saying. All right, for power, he gets a 23 out of 25, which is really risky. So he has maximum public authority paired with 0 formal fiduciary status. That's what I determined. He controls the show. He controls the brand voice.
But yet he is not responsible for any of that, really. Basically, I believe is what she's saying.
And in my opinion, he's not good at it. Like, to be the PR person.
For sure. Most terrible PR person in history.
and to act like he does. No. To respond to comments like he does. No. Free advice.
I know anybody here right now or sees this in the future, if you know Lionel, tell him I really want to talk to him. So anyway, Lionel, you ever hear this, buddy? We got to do something.
Free advice. Yeah. So he's the official spokesperson for an $85 million 501c3, co-hosts the Charlie Kirk Show. Resolute Media produces the show. He is the authenticated leak on the WhatsApp chats to Joe Kent. So, we didn't discuss it in this one. It's not as important, but he leaked those messages, which has always been just a note from me. We'll get to that in a minute. Why would you leak those messages unless leaking those messages from a PR perspective tells me that he knew what he was doing? And I do have a hypothesis on why that we'll get to when I give you my full assessment. And then no officer or director status on any of the filings. All right, his network is a 22 out of 25. It is a very Christian Zionist PR pipeline meets U.S. Army military pipeline. That's my findings. So when I ran it through my model, that's what I found. Two pipelines converge on one person. You have the mega churches, and then you have the pro-Israel cause that were both very big in TPUSA and held it up. So you have
Scruff. No, so he's confident that he saw Erica, of course, and that would have been at the Candlewood Inn and Suites there on base. That would have been the night of the 8th. And then also on the night of the 8th in the Candlewood, he claims that he saw who he thinks to be Cabot Phillips. And then the next day, when the whole, altercation happened between him and when they called the bomb dogs and all that good stuff, it was supposedly Brian Harpole that he saw with a bunch of high-ranking military people.
His connections to Johnny Moore, who brought him in, who Johnny Moore is just, to be honest, I do not trust him. I do not trust him. The two lieutenant colonels that are in his family at Fort Huachuca, the Salem Media Group, which is linked to Clockwork, and Farah, Brad Pasquale, $9 million in Israel money. That connection is very, very shady. And the reported secret meeting at Fort Huachuca. So I want you to look at these four pieces as individually, they're bad. They can be bad on their own. But when you put them all together and you layer them on top of each other, they create that puzzle. And that's what's so kind of beautiful about putting it in these four buckets. All right. So Andrew Clavette's behavior is the last one. I look at behavior, obviously. This one, the model, spit out an 18. If I were looking at this to assess for a client.
And it's strange that the one that was there with her was Cabot Phillips, which is her ex-boyfriend. So, strange, but really not that strange.
I would push the 18 up. Obviously, my model only takes in certain aspects, but looking at him, watching him over the past few months, I would say he's pushing 23, 24. His behavior is very off to me. That's just my assessment. Okay. So if I'm going to give him a 20, 22, we'll give him a 22 on that one. If I'm going to give him a 22, that means it's going to go up by 4. So we're looking at 91. Either way, even with my model's a little bit kind behavior, I'm very proud of it though. I've been training it to really look at behavior from a different perspective. So it's getting there. But anyway, we're at 87. Andrew, you have some explaining to do. And you are welcome. You know what? Not that he watches my show, but Andrew, you are welcome to come on here. I will give you my questions ahead of time. I would just like to have a conversation with you because I think people are going to start throwing people under the bus. All right, let's look at Mikey McCoy. Andrew's never going to take me up on that. So, all right, Mikey McCoy, the model, again, I trust. It's my baby. It's my baby. 62 out of 100. He's Rob McCoy's son. It's pastor, linked to the mega churches, linked to all of the donors, and went to Israel over 23 times, sent Charlie Kirk to Israel in 2023. But Mikey McCoy was hired by Charlie in that car. He reached out to Owens through a third party. We've talked about why that might be, but he did reach out to her allegedly, if that is true. His wife also said in a post, again, allegedly, that everyone knew about it. Okay. So Mikey McCoy, let's go down to his money. Yeah, 10. I mean, I didn't even do a follow the money. Well, I haven't even done a deep dive on Mikey McCoy because the follow the money is so, he didn't have a lot to gain from this financially. So 10. And he has no LCs. I looked. All right. Power, 13. Again, he was executive assistant, then chief of staff. Now he's chief of staff to Erica Kirk. I don't know what's going to happen now with him. It will be interesting to see how they handle it after all this has come out, but we'll see. He has.
Wait till he's chief of staff of the vice president of the United States. Sorry, guys. Just kidding.
No board seat, no officer status. So his power's a 13. His network is an 18 because of his dad in the megachurch. The thing is, he was 18 years old when he met Charlie Kirk. He's so young. So he probably has a lot of information. He probably has a lot. He saw a lot. He knows a lot. Probably Charlie confided in him, but he has no power. And so I wonder if that's why he gave the tip. Okay. Behavior 21. 21. That's his highest one. He has the strongest behavioral signal of the two, according to my model. He tipped Owens via a third party. He suggests insider knowledge of Clavette's revenue exposure, whistleblower type, family protective, or both. There is a reason that he did what he did. He also, I had found this somewhere and I can't verify it, but he had said that, Erica Kirk becoming CEO was like the reason or the divine talking. I don't remember, but
look, I don't think he's innocent in this. I'm sorry, but no matter what, for you to turn and walk away when something like that happens to somebody that is you're supposed to be close to, and that you're supposed to love and respect, to have that reaction or that lack of reaction, I guess you could say, to me is just not a good indicator of what's on the inside.
Was weird after Charlie's death. It was like Charlie's death happened so she could be CEO. If that's true, no, bro. I wouldn't give it a 21. Actually, I would probably give him like an 18. I would switch him and Colvette. But the behavior part, that's why I look at it. So I would switch him and Colvette, which would make him 59. So this is their risk profile. I just thought it'd be interesting to run them through my model that I run CEOs through, and I run other leadership and due diligence through, and how they shake out. And from all of the findings, their assessments align with what we found, I think. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. All right. We have just talked about a lot. And now I want to tell you what I think it means. Here's what I think, Leah's perspective. Okay. Again, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know who's who in the zoo over there. I'm just looking at public documents and behavior and how it aligns and saying, look, if I were assessing you for a client, here's what I would assess you as. Here's what I think people need to look into more. Here's why I think that you all should hire me, because you're really not doing yourselves any favors. But after going through all of that.
So if he's scared, Raining, I almost would not doubt that he is scared. I would say, though, what has him scared may possibly be because of maybe a guilty conscience, maybe worried about going to jail, but also if he played some part in this, I guess he probably knows that if he doesn't play his cards right, he saw firsthand what happens. So, yeah, I could understand him being a little nervous. That's why you don't make them deals with the devil.
I think Mikey McCoy, in my opinion, gave the tip, allegedly, to Candace, because I do believe his wife that a lot of people knew. I do believe that different people had different things to gain and lose. And
it's funny. Everybody in Charlie's close proximity, by Charlie leaving, every single person in his close proximity had something to gain from him leaving and had something or several somethings to lose if he stayed around. So maybe it's just a really big coincidence, but like I said, I find that very odd. I can't think of one person in his close sphere that has not gained something by Charlie going and would not have been losing, for Charlie to stay around.
I do think that at some point it will start to unravel, because as everything else in the country starts to unravel and they're not as insulated and protected, the people who get out in front, it's strategy. You be the whistleblower, you're more protected unless the government's protecting you. But that's, again, for another podcast. So I think Mikey McCoy is trying to come out and say what he thinks. I think he was very close to Charlie. So I think there's merit to Mikey McCoy's tip. I think he did it for protection, and he got it to the person who he knew would figure out what he was talking about. I personally, based on my experience, I do think Andrew Colvette is critical risk. I think my model is right. And if there is any validity to Mikey McCoy's alleged statement about Andrew Colvette being upset or saying that he was going to lose out if Charlie didn't buy into the pro-Israel cause and they lost donors, it tracks with advertising dollars, Salem Media, Clock Tower X, all of the things that Clock Tower X is doing, how he shows up in the 990s. It all comes.
I keep saying it. It's funny. I never saw anything. There may be something out there, but I never saw anything to confirm or validate the number. But 150 million is the number that kept getting thrown around. That was on the table for Charlie before he died. And that was supposedly, offered to him by Bibi on behalf of Israel in some form, shape, or another. So, like I said, I never saw that verified 100%. But then literally weeks, maybe a month after Charlie is killed, there's a $150 million contract that involves all this geofencing, all that stuff that she mentioned earlier with the clock tower and, the show Faith by Works and all the mobile the mobile October 7th experience with VR, out in church parking lots and stuff. Like all that is one big thing. But, and I know that ended up being like a $150 million contract. So it really makes me feel like that's the 150 that was offered and that he had turned down. And oddly enough, now that he's gone, guess what? That 150 came through, and some shit that I think Charlie would not have wanted to have any part in is going on.
It's back to the money. It all comes back to the money. And not only that, there are so many red flags in that structure, in who's benefiting from it, in what they're doing, how they're using Charlie Kirk's likeness, that it's actually insane to me that people are still buying the narrative. And the more that they call people grifters, or the more that they talk about Candace Owens and how she's profiting off of clicks, when people are just genuinely asking questions and wanting to know more, is actually insane to me. And it's a deflection technique for what they're doing.
We won't go over them right now, but I'm just going to remind everybody, we kind of went over those rough numbers, and anybody that says she's in it for the clicks and she's doing this for the money is sadly mistaken. In a nutshell, I'll just tell you, I went over the numbers, and if anything, she's losing money. I don't think she's really losing money, but her biggest explosion and amount of growth and the most revenue increase was all from sometime in 2024 through like mid 2025. Quite a bit before Charlie was killed. So she has had no exponential growth or huge increases in money or revenue, whether it was by ads or anything. She's had none of that since September the 10th, 2025. All of her huge amount of growth was prior to that.
Because they are using a dead man's name. They're not changing the Charlie Kirk Show's name. They are profiting off of it. And I don't know if many people know that the Charlie Kirk Show is a for-profit show and that they're using his name, and that there should be pretty strict guardrails in place for that. And I wonder if there is. And if there isn't, people need to be asking questions. The board needs to be asking questions, because it opens them up to exposure, and that wouldn't be good, because any forensic auditor could go in and easily be like, yeah, no, 126K for a trademark of an $85 million organization, not flying. So as a follow the money person, yeah, I think there's validity to Mikey Coy's tip. And I do think that it has more to do with what we just found and less to do with the noise around his family and all of that. Like, yeah, that might have been his driver, but I personally think that the nucleus is Resolute Media and the Charlie Kirk Show. So, and advertising dollars. We made it through episode 1 of our first podcast. I could cry. I'm so excited for this. Thank you for episode 1. Episode 2 will be out next week. Thank you all so much. Hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned, and I will see you next week.
Apologize for lying to you and telling you that we were going into Stacey Sheridan. For some reason, I was thinking the last part of that she dug into Stacey specifically, but I guess she just kind of touched on her and then moved on. Yes, that was a very good episode, and she's got another one that should be dropping any day. I can't remember what day it's due to drop, but as soon as that comes out, we will definitely go through that one if y'all like that. But number 9. Good stuff. Yeah, that's a good one. I'm always blown away by the content creators raising money for the grifting widow. Yeah, like she really needs it. I mean, she only had like a $50 million insurance policy, not to mention, all the other money that's been raised since. And I mean, they had money before any of this. So, yeah, there's, I don't think she's hurting. Nope. Don't think she's hurting at all. But yes, I really, really like I really like the Leah Files. I've been watching her on X for a little bit now. She was putting little short segments on there, and always found them to be really interesting, informative. They were short, sweet, to the point, but really good. When I heard she was doing the podcast, I was really looking forward to it till she finally dropped her first one. So, yeah, we can definitely keep taking a look at that. Hey, she's got a YouTube channel, so I mean, y'all go on there and subscribe to her channel. Of course, if you want to watch them without me blabbing, through it, then go subscribe to her channel and watch it. I would encourage you to go subscribe to her channel regardless. But anyway, let's see. Did it do what? Yes, I think so. I think so. It's hard for me to keep up with everything, though. Good Lord, there's so many different ones that I try to keep up with. But that sounds right. I believe that's right. Anyway, let's see. Yes, she is definitely based. Yep. No, the first video that I seen her do, I thought, yep, she's a good one. Love to be able to get in touch with her. That'd be a good interview. So I don't know. Maybe we'll get her attention one day somehow. Anyway, guys, I know it's short and sweet, but I wanted to come do a live. Like I said, Friday night was the last one I'd done. I was going to do one Sunday night, and then things just didn't work out. And then thought about doing it in the morning, and like I said, forgot that I had an appointment that I absolutely have to keep. So that was going to knock it out. So I had to just go ahead and jump on. I want to jump on, say hey to y'all. Look at there. Hey, hey, hey. Well, I'm glad you're killing me, Smalls. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you dropped into the chat and said, hey. I wondered where all those people were at, because the number it shows live watching is way higher than what was in the chat. I guess you one of them. I'm glad you caught me too, Raining. It's always good to see you. You're one of the OGs. You're one of the originals, like Miss Susan and Brett, and there's a few of y'all that have been there since day one, and I really appreciate y'all, and I appreciate everybody else that's come since then. We're getting there. We're building it up. So I think I got 5 more subscribers today, through the day. So yeah, y'all keep spreading the word and sending people over here, and we'll get there. What is that? Let's see. I'm not sure, Scruff. Anyway, you guys, since I'm not going to be able to go on in the morning, I will try to be on tomorrow night, at least for a little while. But I don't know for sure. But regardless, unless something catastrophic happens and there's some kind of an emergency, be planning on 9 a.m. Central Wednesday, okay? If I can't get on there tomorrow night, like I said, unless there's just some reason I absolutely cannot, I plan on being back here Wednesday morning. So y'all definitely come out and check me out. Yeah, there you go. Do that, Smalls. Do that. Shoot ya. Everyone I can get is, it just makes me happy. I'm getting there. Look, I got 400. I think last time I checked, it may be higher now. I had 455 earlier. And got to get to 500 and 3,000 watch hours. 3,000 watch hours to get monetized, and I'm at 2,000 now. So we are definitely getting there. We'll make one last push. We'll be there. And then, yeah, they always say after 1,000, that's when things start to smooth out and ease up. So we're getting there. Yes, it'll definitely get there. Yes, yes. Scruff, hey, I'm trying to get the time worked out where everybody can always be here, but one thing I found, there's a bunch of different creators out there, and there's a bunch of good content out there, and you're always you're always competing for somebody, it seems like. So, you know, hey, it is what it is. You know what? Catch one of my lives, and then I guess trade me off and watch somebody else live the next time if we're on at the same time. It don't matter. I'm tickled that y'all come out and watch, and we always have such a good time. We got a cool chat, one cool chat. All right, guys. Let's see. Anything else? Yeah. Anybody that does want to contribute in the meantime until I'm monetized, I do have my 3 links. I've got the PayPal, the Cash App, and the Venmo in the description of the video. Obviously, if you anybody that can, it is much, much appreciated. And like I said, main thing is y'all always showing up and supporting me that way. So, yeah, guys, I'm going to get off here and go to bed. 5 o'clock comes early, but yeah, hopefully I'll see you all here tomorrow night. But if not, I'll be back here Wednesday morning, and I'm going to count on seeing everybody here. Thank y'all, guys. Good night.